What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to another episode of Jack Does Gaming, and we're here to talk about possibly one of my favourite games as a kid, The Emperor's New Groove on PlayStation 1. That's what we're going to be playing on today, and I'm really looking forward to diving into this game and rediscovering what made it so great, but also talking about what made it not so great. It's a fun time. I think it's one of the best games I've ever played, but there are a lot of issues with it, and that's what we're here to talk about today. So strap yourselves in and get ready for the weird, wonderful meta world of The Emperor's New Groove for the PlayStation 1.
What's his name? Cusco! That's his name! He's the king of the world!
Emperor's New Groove was released in 2000 by Argonaut Games on PlayStation and Windows, and is a direct tie-in with the film of the same name. Disney were just on fire during the PS1 era, and with their movie tie-ins, some were good, some were great, and some were just... They dominated the gaming market during this time, and Emperor's New Groove was no exception. David Chen of Next Gen said that it was neither challenging nor captivating, but it's a solid game nonetheless. The game sold 400,000 units on both PC and PlayStation, but it was a commercial bomb. Argonaut Games deemed it as disappointing, and as a result, the game did not generate any royalty income for the company following the release of the game. The game was reviewed with somewhat an average response, gaining a fairly decent response from critics. IGN stated that the core identity really did resonate with him as a Spyro fan, but ultimately the praise went to the wit and humour rather than the repetitive nature of the gameplay, which I wholeheartedly agree with. It does more right than wrong, but the more interesting elements are really present only in the first half of the game. As it goes on, it doesn't get worse, but the novelty definitely begins to wear off. Just looking here, the developers were Argonaut Games and the publishers were Ubisoft. Yeah, that tracks. The game boasts an action-adventure style and sometimes feels a little bit like Spyro the Dragon for its level design and content available throughout the game. A lot of the levels play out the same, going from point A to point B and collecting red idols in order to progress further into the level. The story is largely the same as the movie, with a few extra elements inserted to really stretch it out. The mountains and the palace levels come to mind when I talk about this. From Patch's village to the laboratory of the palace, there's a lot of fun to be had in these levels. Some levels are long and some are short, and you can gauge how long it'll take to beat a level due to the amount of coins you can collect, ranging from 35 to 100. Collecting all coins and finding all secrets in a level will allow you to unlock some concept art from the movie. It's little things like this that make replaying it worth it. As well as coins, you can collect Cusco's signature Whompy from the movies, and these act as continues. Should you die in the level, these will reset you, and if you replay earlier levels, you will lose them, so that's something to keep an eye on. The difficulty is not crazy in the game, however, during the second half, the steep incline is definitely noticeable, particularly in the jungle levels during the day. I found myself dying here more than the rest of the game, but once you die, you can pick up right where you left off thanks to the Whompies you find. Starting off in Patch's village, which acts as a tutorial area that introduces you to the controls, red idols and sprint mechanic, you interact with Patcher and members of the village to help understand the moveset Cusco has. Punches, rolls and jump kicks are what you'll be using throughout most of the game. For the most part, controlling Cusco actually feels pretty good. His movement has that slight loose PS1 quality to it, but running around, rolling into enemies and jump kicking guards is immediately satisfying. There's a decent rhythm to moving through each level once you understand what attack works against which enemies. The biggest problem is that the game demands precision without always giving you precise controls. Cusco can feel responsive when you're running through open areas, but the second you're balancing on a small platform or trying to judge a long jump, everything becomes much less reliable. That's where the camera and occasional input delays start working together to absolutely ruin your day. The aforementioned sprint is really useful, as there will be puzzles and bosses that utilise this mechanic, so it's really important to pick up coins, as they'll increase this meter in the top left, allowing you to sprint for longer. Collect 5 coins and it gets bigger each time.
You'll never catch me!
You're really gonna make me do this, aren't you?
This bloody kid rocks up throughout the game and is just an absolute menace, or at least he tries to be. The only time I could have killed him was during the Rapids level, but more on that later. My favourite level in Patch's village is the 3rd chapter, when you're turned into a turtle and have a really fun race with Kronk. Throughout the game, you'll come across these potions that allow you to turn into these different versions of Cusco. We can turn into a turtle, a frog, and a rabbit. All 3 different animals are basically puzzle/mini-game sections that will allow you to collect more coins and obtain more items that Llama Cusco can't obtain. The frog one was my favourite, as its jump ability is great for covering large distances, and the levels are designed in such a way that precision is important when jumping. The last chapter of this village gives us our first boss fight with Yzma, and as much as I love this game, 90% of the boss fights are incredibly easy, but given that it's a Disney game, I'm now clearly not the intended audience. However, I would like to call bullshit on that. I was 4 when the movie came out, so I will enjoy it to my heart's content, and you can't stop me.
You call yourself an end-of-level boss, Yzma? You're rubbish. Toodles!
After Patch's village, we're in the jungle, and this is one of the best areas in the game and has my favourite boss encounter. We're basically chasing the squirrel throughout the 2 levels and head deeper into the jungle, and it's also the first level that has branching paths that allow you to fully explore an area. It's easy to get lost in these levels, and it still happens to me to this day. Oh, would you look at that, the kid's back. I kept trying to throw the stone blocks down, and I kept mistiming it and sometimes missing completely. I genuinely nearly lost my shit here.
One rock's not enough to break my new bike! Ha! One rock's not enough to break my new bike! Ha! One rock's not enough to break my new bike!
After getting the red idols and solving this really cool puzzle with a blowfish, we finally catch up to the squirrel only to have been led to a trap. Boss for these levels here are the jaguars, and if you've seen the film, which let's be honest, everybody's seen Emperor's New Groove. The jaguars are ruthless and chase Kuzco through the jungle. In the game, you have to spam the sprint button and keep Kuzco alive. I've got a core memory of this as a kid being incredibly difficult, and I remember always dying to these bastards. This was when I played it on PC, so I was just spamming the spacebar while running. After getting out of the jungle, we're rushed onto the rapids and take part in an almost on-the-rails level design where you head from one waterfall to the next, eventually landing at the crocodile hunting grounds. There are monkeys in this level that throw bananas and some that throw coconuts. The coconuts will damage you and the bananas will heal you. As well as the coconuts, there are wet logs in the water, which I always said looked like wet bread, and there are also whirlpools that trap you. When we get to level 3, we meet that bloody kid again, and we have a race to the waterfall. I was so close to beating him first time, and I've never been able to do it first time. However, this little Mayan menace bumped me, and because Patcher has the hitbox the size of Sully's left testicle, I lost the race and had to do it again.
I hate you.
Also, the 4th wall breaks in this game are great. When you progress through the game, Patcher will magically appear in different places, and Kuzco constantly calls him out, and this is one of the many moments that make me think of Deadpool. The next boss fight is Yzma again, and it's pretty scary, I can't lie. She throws potions down and creates animal balloons that slowly drift towards you. You spit at them and send them flying into the barrier at the other end. The amount of times I turned and there was a big gorilla in my face, it really shit me up sometimes. Resident Evil, eat your heart out. Up next is the jungle, but this time during the day. This is where the levels started getting quite long, and this is also where we turn into a frog for the first time. We also get introduced to a new section where you have to avoid palace guards and make it to the end of the jungle without being spotted. If they do spot you, they wave your arms like a loony and call you a demon llama. This is a puzzle-heavy section of the game and it gets stale quite quickly. It's really important to collect coins at this level as you need to sprint around a lot in order to get through certain doors in a specific amount of time. This area ends when you reach the diner from the movie, obtain the red idol and go through the door. Adapting the Emperor's New Groove into a full-length platformer creates an interesting problem because the movie itself moves incredibly quickly. Kuzco and Patcher don't visit dozens of massive locations or fight an army of enemies, so the game has to take many moments from the film and inflate them into entire chapters. Sometimes this works. The jungle chase and diner feel like a natural extension of the movie, and Yzma's laboratory is obviously the perfect setting for the finale. Other times though, you can feel the game desperately trying to delay Kuzco's return to the palace. Speaking of this, up next is the mountains. These levels are alright, the humour really shines in this portion of the game, and the end of the chapter boss fight with Kronk is really reminiscent of Spyro 3. Also, I don't know if you knew this, but Patch is dead fat.
Nice footwork, Chunky.
Unfortunately, this one won't take my weight.
Too bad. So long, peasant.
The new enemies here are the scorpions who like to hide in pots and surprise you. All enemies are tackled differently, some die from rolls and some aren't phased by them at all. City guards are easily dispatched with a jump kick, spiders are a mix of roll and jump kick, and so on and so forth. When we get to the last level of the mountains, we have to run along the ice and avoid boulders. It sounds easy, but the ice physics are well and truly the worst. I remember playing Buzz Lightyear Star Command and I remember complaining about the ice physics there. I still stand by what I said, and I will say the same thing here. Fuck ice mechanics. After the mountains, we get a cutscene from the movie that's my absolute favourite scene in the movie. Unfortunately, the song from the film used in the scene is not here, so I guess I've got to add it myself, but don't worry, I'm fairly confident I'm not going to get a copyright strike. Alright, we're in the city and we're one step closer to becoming human again. I absolutely hated this section. It was so long and so tedious getting everything we needed to progress. The level looks cool, I'm not disputing that, but because we've already experienced so much already, there's nothing new at the table here. My absolute favourite section is coming up though in the next chapter. When we get past the city, we enter the catacombs and take part in what I can only describe as Alton Towers from hell. This section was so fast-paced and so fun, I'm gutted we only got to ride this twice during a lot of the catacomb levels, because it had no business being as fun as it was, and despite dying a lot, I'm here for it and I really enjoy it. I always think I'm doing well until I get flipped and the controls reverse. It gets me every time. The catacombs used to terrify me as a kid thanks to these big blocky bastards, but it's here in this chapter that we also become a rabbit, and the more carrots we collect, the longer we can charge our jump and glide over certain ledges. Just to interrupt myself, I haven't even talked about the music yet. I remember the trailer for this game attached to the VHS release of this movie, and when I bought it on VHS, I saw this trailer again, and this was ultimately what led me to playing the game again. Just have a look at this trailer. I adore the music both in the film and the game. The film's music, both lyrical songs and score, are incredible. I mean, come on man, they got Tom Jones to sing the song in it. Absolutely Welsh cinema. That is going to be the worst Welsh accent that you guys hear today, and I'm so here for it. After the catacombs, we enter the final area of the game, the lab.
Hey, Cusco.
What are you doing down there?
I've been wandering around for ages. I think I found something.
Die, Cusco!
Not again.
Not again.
Curses! Wrong potion! Gods! Activate the pits!
Much like the city levels, it takes so long to get through. It feels more like a gauntlet than it does genuine progression, and when I got to the middle of chapter 2, I just wanted it all to be over. You really do put everything you've learned to the test here, and now we're dealing with big cows and lizards trying to stop us from getting Yzma. Also, fuck this King Ramsay looking chandelier thing. I died so much to them when I was trying to climb the palace.
Return the slab.
When we are turned into a turtle again, we escape Kronk and watch Patcher hilariously try and run away. We reach the bottom and we head to to the next area. Boss fight time, and it's Yzma. Pretty weak fight, but this is essentially a boss that takes place in 3 different areas. You've got the throne room, then you've got the catacomb-like setting, and then you've got the exterior of the palace, which acts as a race.
Okay, but I'm warning you. Drink!
You catch up with Yzma, watch her turn into a cat, and then you race her. I was absolutely fuming at the end of the race when we both reached the potion. Bitch just teleported onto it and won.
A bit unlucky, eh, Cusco?
Yeah, but only because you cheated.
If you didn't have a head start on her, you won't win. It's as simple as that. We get the potion, drink it, and voila, we're human again.
Well, see ya on the other side.
That's it. And that's the end of Emperor's New Groove. Before we wrap up, though, there are some things that I do want to bring to everybody's attention, as it is a bit of a pattern when we talk about PlayStation 1 games, and that is the camera. Earlier on, we mentioned about precision and being able to judge distance on jumping. A lot of PlayStation 1 games use the L1, R1, L2, and R2 buttons to control cameras, and while this isn't a huge issue, sometimes you find yourself fighting with the camera when controlling Cusco. As a general platforming rule, placement and timing is important, and sometimes if the angle isn't right, you'll completely miss and jump to your death. This was an issue I found most frustrating with Medieval. The Emperor's New Groove isn't one of the greatest platformers on the PlayStation, and it doesn't need to be. The gameplay becomes repetitive, the camera can be a nightmare, and the final levels outstay their welcome, but there's too much personality here for me to dislike it. The transformations are fun, the humour still lands, the soundtrack is excellent, and every now and again the game produces a level like the Jaguar Chase or the Catacomb roller coaster that reminds me exactly why I loved it as a kid. It's an average platformer elevated by a brilliant film, a great sense of humour and surprising amount of charm. This game holds a special place in my heart, and despite having a number of issues with it, I had a great time revisiting it. I spent £13 on this game on eBay, and it was really well looked after. We don't sell it at my workplace on PlayStation 1, but we do sell it for £2.50 on PC, so that's something, I suppose. I hope you guys enjoyed that video, and I really hope you are looking forward to what I have next. Now, usually I won't really divulge what I've got next. I like to try and keep it a surprise, but I'm going to be mixing that up a little bit, and I'm here to tell you that we are going to be talking about the Insomniac Spider-Man games next. Now, this is going to be my longest project to date. Rather than break it into 2 parts like I did Resident Evil Requiem, this is going to be one big video, and I'm really looking forward to it. I've currently recorded all the footage that I can for Spider-Man 2018. I'm now working my way through Miles Morales, and then we're going to be doing Spider-Man 2. It's a big one. So the best part about that is, though, is I'm not going to be taking a break after doing this video. So you'll be getting the Emperor's New Groove right now, and then you're going to be getting an Insomniac Spider-Man game next week. And then after that, you're going to be getting another video. So I want to try and get more consistent with the schedule and release them not a month or so apart. You're still going to be getting game videos sprinkled in between as well, just to kind of tide you over. But you've got that to look forward to. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks, guys.